So why is the notion of the beatific vision so unfamiliar to many of us? Why do so many people today hardly treat the Pauline promise of a face-to-face vision of God as the greatest promise ever? The beatific vision no longer fits within the broader framework of our lives. It is the way in which we look at things and people and the way we treat them that make us shrug our shoulders about the beatific vision. When we set our desires primarily on stuff rather than on God, and when that approach to happiness dominates our cultural context, the notion of gazing eternally upon God doesn't seem like a plausible description of happiness. And so the doctrine of the beatific vision is an ill fit with the plausibility structures of our society. In a largely materialist society, the beatific vision is simply an odd fit. Our society is materialist. And I don't just mean that we set our minds on the acquisition of this worldly goods, though that is an important part of it. But more foundationally, I mean that we've come to treat the world as consisting of purely material objects, objects that are unrelated to one another. We treat the world around us as consisting of atoms and nothing else. We have, you could say, atomized the world. We have fragmented it. We typically think of the world around us, and perhaps even of ourselves, as consisting of numerous separate atoms or fragments. We can manipulate these atoms, these fragments, and connect them with each other in various ways. But in and of themselves, the various objects of the world are separate from each other, or so we tend to think. Such materialism implies there is no purpose to things. At least there's no purpose to things apart from us imposing a purpose on them from the outside. In such a modern materialist world, the human will takes center stage. In modernity, we've come to think of ourselves as imposing rather than discovering the telos of created things. This approach of imposing rather than discovering the telos makes it impossible to treat the beatific vision as the ultimate end. In a strictly material universe, we're not made for anything, let alone the beatific vision. The only purposes are purposes of our own making. But if our final happiness does actually consist of seeing God, then that is the purpose we're made for. And in that case, our job is simply to discover how it is that we can live our lives in harmony with that final end of the beatific vision. So here's what I think is the main thing that we're up against in catechesis. The main problem is that both as instructors and as students, we have imbibed an atomized, fragmented view of reality. We've done away with the belief that the purpose of things actually lies embedded, sacramentally embedded within them. You could also put it this way. From a Christian viewpoint, God has made the world and human beings in such a way that we naturally long for ultimate happiness. Eternal fellowship with God isn't out of sync with the way God has made us. No, He has made us for beatific vision. Human beings, and indeed all of creation, are connected already to God as our final goal. Using sacramental language, you could say the sensible world is like a sacrament. Well, God himself in Christ is the reality that is really present throughout the created cosmos. God is the ultimate telos of the world, and he has made himself already, really, sacramentally that is, present in it.